Hello, fellow listeners. Must say I'm in a little bit of shock when I woke up this morning and found that Donald Trump and the Republicans have not only won the presidency, the presidency, but they've also won for the Senate and for the House. So, needless to say, the Republicans will control everything in U.S. government. People ask me, why are you concerned so much about the election in the U.S.? Doesn't affect us. Well, yes, it does. And I'm going to just take a minute and talk about a few things that Trump has talked about of an impact here on Canada. First of all, we'd like to talk about trade tensions and economic impact as a result of the way the election went. Mr. Trump said there'd be tariffs and trade blockades, which will impact Canadians immensely. Trump's earlier imposition on tariffs on Canada, steel and aluminum demonstrated his willingness to disrupt North American trade, even under existing agreements like the USMCA, which replaced NAFTA. A return to similar protectionist policies could harm Canadian exports. So we have to take a look into that. The USMCA, Trump has been critical of international trade agreements and may push for renegotiation that benefit the U.S. in the expense of Canadian industries, affecting sections like agriculture, automotive, and energy. So those really not in favor of the USMCA agreement that replaced NAFTA years ago. See what he does. Again, with Trump, what we know is his last term in office, very unpredictable on his policies and their shifts. Trump's often sudden policy changes could stabilize Canadian markets and depend on predictable trade relations with the U.S. And you have to remember that U.S. and Canada were two biggest trading partners with each other. We look at his energy and climate policy. There's been a lot of work on pipeline and energy development. Trump's previous administration favored fossil fuel expansion, potentially influencing cross-border pipeline approvals and policies. While it may be economically favorable for some Canadian provinces, it could create political and environmental strains within Canada. Climate action rollback we can look at. We can look at the climate action rollback. Canada has been pushing forward with climate action, and Trump's past skepticism of climate change and withdrawal from international climate agreements could hinder Canada's efforts and diminish global support, making it challenging to address cross-border environmental issues. And we must remember that at one point during the campaign, Trump did say something about how many lakes Canada has, how much water we have. Now, water doesn't belong to us, indicating that maybe he might take action and try to take Canadian fresh water. We'll have to see with that one. They have to look at defense and national security I think the biggest concern is for within the government of the people within the United States. Some of the laws that are going to come down, some of the actions by the new Trump administration are going to be considered, to say, maybe crimes against humanity. Just saying. Um, Trump will be pushing for all countries, especially Canada, to spend more money of their GDP on the build of a military, other people, or weapons, machinery, vehicles, stuff like that. I personally don't think we need to increase military spending. We need to decrease it, and I think we need to bring our soldiers home, bring our sons and daughters home, because there is nobody at our doors attacking us. So why do we have our soldiers in foreign countries having influence over the people there? Let them be free. Let them live like we do free. Bring our soldiers home. Cut the defense budget, I would say, by at least half. We can keep an active military on alert. I don't think we need to have them actual in bases. That's something we could look at, is if we could bring them home. But we spend more money on our commitment to NATO, our commitment to military around the world. We need to be looking at is our own infrastructure. We have indigenous people that have concerns about housing, education, water, and just displacement in general. They've been taking off their land and thrown in a piece of parcel of land saying, you can live here. It's very difficult to disagree with that. And of course, Trump has this great border security policy he's going to be working on. There'll be mass roundup of people living in the states that are not official or legal, we would call it, not legal. They've entered the United States. And the thing about it is they have entered maybe 15, 20 years ago, and they have been working and they've been contributing to the U.S. economy, to neighbors, to the industries. According to Trump, they're gone. The stricter immigration policies will be enforced at all borders of land or sea or air. And that will mean that Canada will have to be about their end of security, and that will cost us a lot of money. So as I said, we're cutting back from defense. We have to throw money back into our border security. And again, maybe we need to build a wall. So I'm just saying, maybe we need to build a wall. And I'm just getting a message in now from one of our listeners who says that she agrees with everything that we are saying, and she want to add some thoughts to it, but we'll do that. So we also have to look at social culture tensions. Trump's taking a strong nationalistic stance when it comes to the U.S. And, Canada, well, we are a very diverse society. We're very accepting of newcomers. And we are what I call a mosaic tile of different people from around the world, where the U.S. always has been and will continue to be what we call the melting pot. Once you move to the United States, if you immigrate to the United States or you get in the United States, however you got in the United States, your past identity, whether you came from Europe, Asia, Africa, you are now American. Nothing but, nothing more, just American. And that's going to have an impact on society. I can honestly see a lot of people trying to immigrate to Canada. That would be very, very interesting. And I said there's going to be a big impact on immigration. If he succeeds in pushing through his immigration policy, it could mean that it could change the whole migration pattern. It could change it so rather than entry through the United States, we're going to find entry into Canada. And the way to do that is probably through our ports. Because if you're not going through the United States, it's very difficult to get to Canada, especially if you're coming from, I would say, uh, South Africa or South America, Central America, or any part from over the world. If you flew into those parts you're traveling, you're not going to get into the United States. You're going to try to find a way to get into Canada. And the only way by that majority is by sea. So again, that will be a big impact on our border security. We'll have to look at that. But we have to look at also economic and investment challenges coming up with a new president. Confidence. Confidence in the U.S. government will probably be next to or low or next to nothing. We have an irrational leader, and we have rational people that have followed him into the White House. Now, the Americans voted him in. They did vote him in. So he is there by the will of the Americans. They want change. They're going to have to change the electoral vote. They're going to have to change how balloting is done. A lot of things have to change in the American way they do their elections. But for now, a nice, I wouldn't say nice, clean election day was had. I know in one news story I heard there was a bomb threat at a voting station and they had to close it down, but they said they were going to extend the hours of voting station to allow for those people who were not allowed to vote come back and vote. International influence is going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting to find out how the rest of the world reacts to Donald Trump. Not just reacts, but how they communicate with him, do business with him, the influence of that the U.S. may have had on the world economy. I know we've always been using the U.S. dollar as a way to sort of, well, that was the dollar being used. Before that, it was a sterling. I think there's a push to have the U.S. dollar removed as what we base, I guess, our values at. And for those, there are those who are worrying about his close ties with Putin, close ties with the leader of North Korea. But again, we have to remember that there are other Republicans in there who will be helping him. First time was a fiasco. He did what he could. All I remember about him is executive order, executive order, executive order. Build America, make America great again. I don't see this happening. I really don't. If anything, I see that we'll have to be mindful, watch, see what happens. I think I had pegged yesterday afternoon. I had him in just in my thoughts that Harris will win 289 seats and Trump will win 251. But as we can tell, American people, voted, not all of them. So if you are an American and you did not vote, you have no say. I don't want to hear nothing from you. If you did not go out and vote, then that's shame on you. We will see what happens. For now, I am Renda McEwen, and this is my thoughts on election results and the fact that we're going to have impact here in Canada with our trade relations, energy and climate policies, defense and national security, social and cultural tensions. And we're going to have not just looking at what's going to hurt us, but how the world sees Trump and how the world will do business with Trump. So we'll see. Thank you. Over and out is Randy.